Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
What would you say the hardest thing about moving is? For me, I just recently did it after 24 years living in the same home, was not only the purging that I had to do, but the packing and the heavy lifting and figuring out who's going to help me and do I know enough people that I could buy pizza for, all that craziness. We are going to have an incredible conversation today with a business owner who takes care of the muscle in moving, which tends to be the hardest thing. Please welcome to Phoenix Business Radio, Jason Elkins, founder and president of Thumbs Up Moving Labor. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Well, welcome to Phoenix Business Radio.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. We are broadcasting from the Max 6 Entrepreneur Center, and this is Phoenix Business Radio, where we help build businesses and connect you with the right people. And I'm Karen Nowicki, and I'm very excited because Jason and our producer and community manager, Daryl, met, I believe, at a Tempe Chamber event. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. It was, what was the opening? It was
for Cul-de-sac, I think.
Yeah, Cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty cool.
Such a cool concept.
Yeah. The founder, owner, CEO of that, he's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's like, I started to talk to him a bit, and it was like, oh, geez, I got to level up. I got to get to that level, man. I'm looking around. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, but
No, it's cool, though. It's inspirational.
So cool. But also don't sell yourself short. I looked at your website. I've seen what you've been up to. I've been watching you since Daryl met you, and I am excited about getting to share your story because you're doing great things on behalf of families and people and companies, for that matter, who need the muscle when moving. So let's back up the train since I have had a chance to research a little bit about what you're doing. Tell us about Thumbs Up Moving Labor. Who are you? Who do you serve? I know you're here in Washington, I think.
Yep, in Washington State, which is where I'm from.
Yeah.
And that's where we started 8 years ago. Should I tell the origin story?
I would love the origin story. Let's start that because it's so good.
Yeah, well, the origin story was, I was 24 years old and my brother and I had quit my job and went traveling. I watched that movie Into the Wild and I was 24. I'm like,
I'm doing this.
I got to get out there and I got to go explore the world a little bit. So I did save up some money when I was like 22 and I saved money and I traveled and went to China for a couple of weeks and just went throughout the States a little bit. I ran out of money in 2010 and the summer was like the best summer of my life. Super fun, wild and free, the whole thing, and then the fall came and I was broke and I'm like, oh man, not having a job kind of sucks. I'm like, but I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My stepfather, he just retired, actually just sold his company for like 3 or 4 million. And so he's always served as a role model. And my grandfather was a World War II veteran he was a POW captured in Japan, or got captured in the Philippines and sent to Japan for 3.5 years as a POW. So he came home and he wasn't really a good employee material. And so he ended up doing his own thing for like selling cars and ended up doing a lot of leasing for, different like heavy equipment for companies and stuff. So I grew up, with my grandfather, being an entrepreneur and working for himself. And then my mom got remarried and my stepfather was, had his crap together and he was a happy-go-lucky guy and gosh, I mean, Rick, if you ever listen to this, man, thank you so much because I do owe it to him in a lot of ways. And my older brother Jesse, he also kind of helped me because he was already ahead of 4 years older than me, and so he had already started his own heating and air conditioning company, and now he's big contractor in the HVAC. And so anyway, I was like, man, I ran out of money and it was a bummer. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, I guess I had to go get a job maybe or something. And so I ended up, my older brother's like, okay, buy a truck. If you get a truck, like a pickup truck, he's like, if you get a pickup truck, you can make money. He said that to me.
And you're like,
and I was
okay.
like, huh, okay. He's like, you can do recycling, garbage. You can do, whatever. You can do scrap metal. You can just figure out how to make money with it. I'm like, that's pretty good. I found a truck for $1,500 and it was like the best decision because next thing you know I'm posting ads on Craigslist. I already learned how to do that I sold real estate when I was 21 years old, right before the market crashed or like 2021. in '06, I had like a bunch of listings. I was known as the FSBO King, which is for sale by owner.
Right.
And so I was like teaching classes in my little Keller Williams real estate office in Washington State, in Marysville, Washington. Anton Stetner, shout out to you if you ever hear this.
Oh,
He was like my mentor. But the housing crisis, the market crashed, the subprime fell out, the loans dried up. And so then I was like, I couldn't hang, I was so young and I got disillusioned, to be honest, about the whole thing. I was like, and I still have kind of like a chip on my shoulder when it comes to housing, because now there's a housing crisis and I do not like that. I'm not okay with like paying $300,000 or $400,000 for a really small little matchbox home.
right.
I'm like, it's a crisis. They're not building enough homes. There's a lot of factors. Cheap money, interest rates are low. But anyway, so I got out of that, I left, but I learned a lot, like on sales, on how to post ads on Craigslist, and how to, it's a numbers game, and how to generate leads and all these things. And so then, and I already, like I was telling you earlier, I tried network marketing too when I was like 17 or 18.
We've all had our spin with that.
My grandparents were making good residual income, and they were making like $2,000 or $3,000 a month. And I was like, stoked. I'm like, I'm dropping out of college. So I, at like 18 or 19. And so that didn't work out, but I tried. I was really good at recruiting all my friends, but we couldn't sell anything.
Right.
So I could sell the idea of getting rich. So my brother always joked, he's like, you would just come over and hang out and talk about all the ways that you would spend all your money. But we couldn't actually sell any product. That was a problem. So I had all this experience, and then I got the truck, and my older brother, Jesse, hooked me up with, he said, hey, I have my bookkeeper in Bellingham, Washington. She has you could do some demo work with her. There's an old building, and they need to do some demo work for a remodel. And he's like, you could probably like work your way in with them. And so I made an arrangement with her. I went to her office, super nice lady, and she kind of like served as a little role model or mentor with bookkeeping, because I knew nothing of the sort. And so I got my first, sole proprietorship, just a basic $20, master business license. And then I took that, and I was able, then I could invoice them. So I was able to charge $20, per hour, and work on my own, and work at my own rate, and work at my own pace. I had the work ethic. It's just that I just needed to find something that I could do that I felt good about doing. And I had already done a bunch of different physical labor jobs over the years, starting at like 17 or 18, and just kind of doing a bunch of odd jobs, carpet cleaning. You have to pay your dues. The young guys, I tell them, it's like, hey, man, there's no way around it. If you want to have success in your life, you have to start, like, the sooner that you can start and work hard and get that work ethic. It doesn't matter what kind of job it is. If it's a crappy job, it's the work ethic. You take that with you onto the next thing, right? So it's like, if a task is once begun, never leave it till it's done. Be the labor great or small, do it well or not at all. So that's an ethos that I live my life by. And I learned that, oh gosh, I always forget his name, but a record producer, really successful one, is you would know his name. I forget
I don't know
it.
who it is, but
Anyway,
that's the first time I've heard that.
yeah, it's a great. He learned it from his father, and then he became one of the Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones became like he was working with Frank Sinatra, and like he was behind the scenes of Thriller. Without him, Thriller wouldn't happen. Michael Jackson. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. He's behind the scenes. He's the guy that's making it happen.
Yeah.
He's orchestrating it all, because his work ethic is just next level. And those guys, gosh, oh my gosh, that's what fuels me, is the guys like Michael Jordan or LeBron James or, David Goggins. I'm reading the book right now by David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. And the work ethic is just next level. I mean, it's like 10 levels high, higher than where I am. It's like, I work hard, but I don't work as long as I could work, right? So I'm like, how do you manage your time, like a little bit better, so you can get you're leaving a lot on the table, right? So anyway, I've gone on tangents. Like I said, I could go on a million tangents, so I don't know. But yeah, so I bought the truck. I got that demo job for like a couple months, and I was able to save money. And that's actually when I went to China. I took a break and went to China for 3 weeks. After that, I'd done some local travel before that. But then I ran out of money again. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do now, because that demo job's done. But I have my business license, so
and a truck,
yeah, and so then we had an old engine from my old car that the engine broke down because I didn't change the oil and I blew the engine. I've had to learn a lot of lessons the hard way. But yeah, so anyway, I had this old engine in the garage at my dad's place, which I ended up taking over my dad's apartment with my brother Justin, my younger brother. I have 3 brothers, and so my younger brother and I, we ran out of money. We were caretaking for my grandfather, Jack Elkins, the POW World War II hero that saw action on Corregidor and was a POW for 3.5 years. By the way, if you've never read Man's Search for Meaning, read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, one of the best books you'll ever read. I'm going to read it every year for the rest of my life.
I think, shout out to Kyle, who owns Mac 6. I think that's his favorite book, if I can recall.
Yeah, Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start With Your Why, but he contributes what he learned from, a lot of what he learned from Man's Search for Meaning from Viktor Frankl. So anyway, I was caretaking for my grandfather, so it was a cool thing because it gave us the little bit of breathing room. So he was paying for the rent, and we were caretaking for him at the assisted living home every single day, like at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. And we were like soaking in his wisdom. Jedi, wisdom. Yeah, because he was 90 at the time, or 84, or 86 when we started, or whatever. He died at 92. I was the last one to see him live, but yeah. So anyway, I was caretaking for him, but I'm like, I got to do something. This is my window. This is my opportunity. I'm 23 or 24. I got to do it. I got to hit it hard now, or else I'm just going to be a loser. I don't want to be a loser. I'm not trying to be like a nobody. I'm trying to do something. I just don't know what to do. So we scrapped the metal from my garage. We made $60. Scrap metal prices were pretty high at the time. And so then we were stoked. We were like, dude, we just made $60, my brother and I.
From trash.
From this old engine that we had in the garage for 10 years, or whatever, 5 years. And so, that got us pretty stoked. So my brother and I, we started just posting ads on Craigslist, like for scrap metal removal. So we were able to generate some jobs that way, but it wasn't enough, right? Because I'm motivated at the time. I mean, I'm motivated in general, but at the time I was like, I got to make money, and this isn't enough. It's not cutting it. So then we start posting ads for doing recycling. So then I started a recycling business. My brother and I, Justin, it was just on the business card. It said, we'll take crap from anybody. That was our was our motto. Yeah. So I could have gone down that path. There are a lot of companies like 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Brian Scudamore is he's a big mentor. I've actually reached out to him multiple times, like, hey, do you want to partner up? But he's not giving me the time of day because I'm a pipsqueak at the time, right? I haven't scaled yet. Really, not very much. So anyway, so the scrap metal, I was trying to do that, but it wasn't like, it was generating some, and we actually took the time to separate. So we would do we would take junk from people and we would separate everything. So we would take the metal and make money off of that. We would take we made $500 from an old riding lawnmower that we cleaned up. I cleaned up and sold that for $500, got it for free, got paid to tow it, so it was a pretty sweet thing. Like we were rocking and rolling for that spring, moving into the next summer, like 2011. But at the time, like I was already starting to do some moves, right? Because we're like, hey, we could post jobs on, or post what else can we do with the truck to make money? So it's like we started posting that we could move people's stuff. So my brother and I, next thing you know, we're stacking up like 5 levels high, like in this pickup truck, and it's like leaning from side to side, and we're strapping it down with a bunch of ratchet straps and nets and things. And
but you're getting it there.
It's comical, yeah. But we charge like $200 or whatever. I didn't know how to charge at the time. But, just whatever. I've always gone from the beginning. I've invented this business. Like, I'm just making it up, just what makes sense, what's fair,
And what's needed.
Yeah, and what's needed. Absolutely. I mean, that's the key right there. Finding your niche means finding a need, and finding a need that's being neglected. And the moving industry is especially being neglected. There aren't good options. There aren't very many. There are some.
Tell us about the traditional options, and then tell us how you guys are different.
Right. So let me just finish the story real quick. So we started posting on Craigslist, like doing the moving, but then I realized that people were just having us help them with their loading and unloading of their local U-Haul trucks. And I was like, So I was like that, I started looking into buying a truck, moving truck. And I'm like, God, this sucks. I was talking to one of my older brother's friends. He's like, yeah, this sucks. He had a company, a couple trucks. He's like, it's horrible. I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound fun at all. You have to get all this insurance. You have to buy a truck, all this overhead. You're getting super risky at the time. And I'm like, oh, no. I've never gotten into debt for my work, for my business. It's always been funded from my own revenues that I'm producing, which is pretty cool. It's the opposite of Amazon, for example, because we're small. We don't have money. I didn't know about capital at the time. I didn't know about investors. And so anyway, I sat there and I was like, one day, I remember it clear as day, and I don't remember that much. I can't remember what's a dream and what's real sometimes in my past. Oh my gosh. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, moving labor. I was like, maybe I could be a moving labor company. And I had no idea that there's an industry around moving labor.
Oh.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was like, but I think that this could be something I could do. I don't want the truck, but I know there's a need and I know we can do it. We've been doing it. Our clients are stoked. And so, yeah, I would start Googling it. And sure enough, there was a couple platforms, hirehelper.com being the first one that we found.
Right.
And so we posted on there that we were available. It's a platform, like ClickUp or like Fiverr or WeWork
Sure.
or I mean, that was the name of that company, by the way, WeWork, I think.
Hmm.
I think another co-working space. But yeah, so anyway, we started getting jobs from there, a few here and there. And I remember someone taught me, it might have been Anton. He's like, my stepfather, he taught me it's better to have 1,000 employers than one employer. Like you want to have as many sources of getting jobs as possible,
Right.
right? If you were going to be a successful entrepreneur. And so, because then if you get fired from one, you have 999 others, right? So I was like, okay, how else can we get jobs? So I just started I started with a Facebook page and I started getting jobs on, just these other platforms, movinglabor.com through U-Haul, which isn't very good. I wouldn't recommend it. Nobody should use that. It's just a hit or miss, fly by night. Anyway, we'll get into that later. But yeah, so next thing you know, I have a couple employees and it's just like took off. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's it. Like, that's my
That's
thing.
what I'm doing.
That's what I'm doing. That was 8 years ago. And we've helped over 1,000 clients around on average over I'd say 800 clients a year for the last
Wow.
8 years in Washington State. And then 2 years I've been here in Arizona. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's exciting. And why Arizona? So you grew up in Washington.
Yeah, it's a trifecta. My parents moved here. They bought a second home. They're snowbirds.
Yeah.
And then my partner, Nicole, she lives here and she found me on Instagram. She's like, you look cool. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. And she's like, we should date. And so she brought me down here. Well,
Yay,
it worked
Nicole.
out. Yeah. She has some health issues right now. She's in the hospital. But
Oh,
yeah, so anyway, that brought me down here. And also it was like, okay, it was the it was a good I always knew for years that if I wanted to grow, I needed to get into another city. But I was always like, this is way too big of a hurdle. I have no idea how I'm gonna do that. Like that's just I can't even fathom like doing that. So when I moved down here, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna just go for it. And it's just been, slow because I mean, we've been generating jobs, but when I say slow, I mean, like producing 30,000 instead of 100,000 the first year or two,
Yeah.
30,000 the first year, maybe 40 this past year, but COVID hit too. So it's just a matter of getting our name, we're at 500,000 as far as revenue now, which I'm super proud of.
You
We
should
we
be
have more.
super proud of that.
It's a lot because our average job is $400 or three or
huge.
$500. So we have to help a lot of clients. We helped over 1,000 this year in Washington, between Washington and Arizona. So yeah, so it was it's just a matter of getting this is why I'm excited to be here because to me this is indicative of like growth. When you start getting out there, joining the Chamber of Commerce and
Yep.
then you start networking and meeting people and stuff and then then it starts to get to the next level, which is what I'm trying to do. And so it's just a matter of getting it out there that we're an option because people don't know that this is an option. They think they have to do full service, which means hiring a full service moving company where it costs, $3,000 or $4,000 on average for a local move, or 20,000 on average for an interstate move. Depending on how far you're going. And a lot of the times they're not great companies.
Mhm.
They're really sketchy a lot of times. There are some good ones, but you have to pay a premium for that. You have to pay a lot more than if you go the cheapest route. You're going to get good work isn't cheap work isn't good.
Right.
And so with us, so then people are like, okay, I don't want to do that. So then, of course, U-Haul. And U-Haul is huge. It's a huge thing that people rent trucks. Everybody knows that. And you bribe your friends to show up, pizza and beer and, whatnot. And then you get the job done, but it's horrible and everybody hates it. And it's hell-like experience for everybody because you never know who's going to get hurt. It's like going to war, it's like who we're going to lose this time? Is it going to be Uncle Joe or Grandpa Bob, or something?
Right.
So our guys are, young, strong, hardworking, good backs, good work ethics, good attitudes. They're licensed. We're licensed or insured. Their background check. I don't know if I ever said that, but this is our spiel that I teach my customer service representatives. Added value. It's all about making sure that people, how do you gain people's trust? Well, you be transparent. You have integrity.
Mhm.
You make sure you follow through with what you say you're going to do. The proof is in the pudding.
Yep.
So we have hundreds. We actually have probably like 800 or maybe 600 or 700 5-star reviews between all the platforms and Google. And we were called Washington Moving Labor Services, and we're still WMLS LLC. That's our official license name. But our DBA that we just got registered finally after a year with the Trades Commission, the Federal Trades Commission. Now we legally have the trademark for Thumbs Up Moving Labor in our logo on our hats. This is my face.
I was just going to say, here's a shirt. It's a bigger view.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And people are like, they don't like my slogan sometimes. Like, people don't get it. They're like, moving made simple and fun. What are you talking about? It's not simple. It's not fun. I'm like, exactly. That's the thing. I'm like, if you can make it simple and fun for people, you've won. Because, and we do make it fun. So the cool thing, we named it Thumbs Up Moving Labor because we have thousands of thumbs up photos from our past clients with our movers in the photos, literally doing this.
Yeah.
My thumbs are weird. They go like that. But yeah, so yeah, we have thousands of these photos. I pay my movers $5 for each one of these 5 thumbs up photos because it's an incentive. So I pay it like 10 different ways. We're not just hourly, So when we hire a college student, we start them out at 17 or whatever. But after the thumbs up photos that they get on every job and the 5-star reviews, we pay them $10 for 5-star reviews. We do mileage reimbursement, drive time pay, oversized item pay, all these different things. They're starting out, they're working really hard, but they're starting out making it like $22, $23 an hour. If anyone's looking for work, come and go to our thumbsupmovers.com.
You're always looking for help.
We're always looking for, it's part-time flexible work for young guys that want to work hard and learn how to take on responsibility, which I think the earlier that we learn that you have to take responsibility in your life, the more the better, basically, and the quicker the better in your life. Like, you're just going to get more and more ahead. The earlier you're willing to just take your cross, as I say, like take up your cross of suffering and say, okay, I'm just going to suffer, because you're going to suffer no matter what in life. Right. So you might as well suffer in a way that you're creating a really beautiful life for yourself eventually. Because, they say compound interest is the 7th law of the universe of nature or whatever. I don't know what they say, but really it's time. Time is your greatest asset if used properly. And I'm still learning that time management, of course. We can always do better, but so anyway, it's a great opportunity for young guys to learn how to work, because we expect a lot. We have hundreds of pages of like best practices and standard operating procedures, like the Army SOPs. It's extremely important to remove ambiguity from companies as they grow, because you don't want people just like being able to they have to have a structure. Right. Like my 2 customer service representatives, it's taken over 6 months to train them to be able to fly on their own without me. And I still give input because they still, there's just a lot of human error when you're trying to develop this business model that can scale, but also keep that quality extremely high. That's extremely rare. I think that's hard to accomplish that. Companies can grow, but at a huge price to the quality of their service or product. And so how do you keep the quality high and scale? That's a difficult problem. Elon Musk says the more complicated of a problem that you can solve, the more you get paid. So if you can solve extremely complicated problems, like how do you scale and keep the quality extremely high, for example, for me, you can do well, but it's a win-win. I look for win-wins. It's easy to say people over profit, but we are a people over profit company. We absolutely put our profit like second to making sure our employees are happy and our clients are happy. So I've just been rambling on. Like I said, I could ramble on for a long time.
This is your show. I do want to know, though, because you are a fast talker, but extremely.
I had a lot of coffee.
It's good. That works. What are you like first thing in the morning? I imagine that your alarm goes off, or you don't even need an alarm, and you literally pop out of bed and start just boom, 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 boom. Is that what it looks like?
Kind of. I mean, I'm not really a morning person, to be honest.
What is morning for you?
8 o'clock is pretty early for me.
Oh my gosh. Our alarm went off at home. It's just my son and I at home anymore. And I'm like, it's 7 o'clock. It was 2 hours later than we're typically up. I don't know how that happened.
I know. I'm not, I'm ambivalent toward the morning person. Like I guess I'm type A, but I'm more of a night owl just by nature, like I could stay up easily till midnight. But yeah, once I do decide to start tackling my day,
There's no
right
stopping
from the
you.
beginning, I start making my bed. That's the first thing, or whatever task. I just go right into task mode, and I just start doing the easy tasks that are mundane but need to be done to keep the quality of my life high, which is a lot taking self-care.
Yeah.
I do martial arts, and I just started martial arts,
Good for you.
which I
But look at you.
love.
You're
I'm
like, I
so
do
stoked.
martial arts.
Yeah, I know. I'm
I
like, I
love
learned
it.
some cool
What
kicks and
kind?
punches and blocks and stuff.
What are you studying? What are you doing right now?
Well, it's called Campo, I think Campo or Campo. It's
Yeah.
a Hawaiian. It's a mixed martial arts of. Shout out to Ricky, who's also a chamber member. I met at the chamber
So it is
ribbon
brand
cutting 3
new.
weeks ago or
Yeah.
a month ago. I met him, and I was like, dude, I want to do this because I'm always like, whatever I could do to stay fit and stay active.
Yes.
I think it was
And it's
Play-Doh.
such a holistic opportunity
It
through
really
martial
is.
arts.
Yeah, it's
good
cool.
for
It's
you.
body and mind. It's like yoga, meditation. It's a technology.
It's a discipline.
It's
Yep.
1,000-year-old technology that that in the East they've been developing in China originally, and then in Japan, and then of course, like all over the world, and Brazil with jiu-jitsu. And so I don't know that much about it. I don't want to go on a tangent too much about it because I don't know that much.
But
All I know is
but
I'm
I do
into it.
martial arts.
I know all I know is I'm into it because after my last class, I had the coolest dreams where I'm like doing high kicks and jumping all over the place, and Ricky's talking to me. He's a black belt, second degree black belt or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's Kampo, it's karate, kung fu, Japanese and Chinese. Chinese is the kung fu, and Japanese
Yeah.
is karate.
So good.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
a new
super
thing
fun.
coming into
I'm
2022.
stoked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like debating last night if I should go or not. And I'm like, oh God, I just got done working. I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to the brothers Karamazov because I just listened to a podcast with a scholar who's like, dude, if you haven't read Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky, you're not an adult. And I'm like, I want to be an adult. It's like I'm trying to be an adult, which means, it's like maturing, in all the
Yeah.
different ways. So I'm listening to that book, and I'm like I'm laying down in my like peaceful zone. I'm like, should I go or should I go? I'm like, I have the freedom tonight to go. I don't always have the freedom because life is happening. But I did last night, and I went, and I was super stoked. I felt really good. I slept well. Felt great this morning. It's energizing. So yeah,
So
martial
good.
arts. I would recommend it to everybody.
Yeah. And we'll have to have Ricky on.
Have
Did
Ricky
you get
on.
to meet him?
Ricky, you know what? You think
Yeah.
I'm a fast talker?
Oh, he's in Fuel with you. Shout out to Ricky in
Shout out to
Fuel with
yeah.
Daryl. Oh, I'm excited. We'll have to
Yeah,
have
and
you on.
Ricky has his new dojo, and he's excited. He's
Yeah.
so excited because it's in Tempe.
Yeah.
He just opened it, and his father is his mentor. He's like 7th degree black belt.
Wow.
They're part of the Shaolin. Ricky's gonna be like, oh man, what are you talking about?
No,
Stop
I
saying
think
things.
it sounds good on our end.
But Shaolin, I think. But it's a like a branch of this discipline
Yeah.
of martial arts. And so yeah, he's super stoked. He's looking for more children because that's like he's a great, he's only 24.
Oh,
So I think
wow.
for me, it's like for the older people, it's a little bit weird for him because he's still like learning. He just opened his dojo.
Yeah.
Not weird for him, but I think with the children, that's really his target market because they could be with you for years and years and
Yes.
years, and they could get super into it, and they could, I just think I don't know why all the reasons, but I do the adult class, and it's just super fun, and I just like it's so fun. Like last night, I learned a karate chop where it's actually a karate chop, and if you do it right, you could break someone's neck. But it's all about self-defense, It's
Right.
like you're not.
We don't wanna break
They're not
necks, but
teaching me
if
to
I
go
need
out there.
to.
But I feel vulnerable in the world. I don't always feel super safe because I'm not a gun carrying guy. My brothers are huge gun guys. I'm not a gun guy.
Yeah.
So I feel vulnerable out there. So I'm like, it's cool to learn because I'm more in shape than my brother. Maybe not my younger brother, but my older brothers. I'm
He's
way more in
whispering
shape.
so they don't hear him.
Yeah, exactly. They won't listen. Okay, so yeah,
So real quick, we'll finish up on the dojo. Where is it's in Tempe? But do you remember the cross streets?
yeah, it's off of Kyrene or Baseline. It's on Baseline and right just east of Kyrene.
Sweet.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a block. It's right by that big park. What's that big park in Tempe? There's like
Kiwanis?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like right across the street. There's a furniture store on the corner.
Yeah.
There's a bar. There's like a donut shop. It's
Yeah.
like right in this little strip mall thing, but it's
Very
sweet.
good.
He's so stoked. He's so jacked up. He's just he's like me on steroids actually. So you think
Wow.
I'm high energy? By the time I get there, I'm just like,
And he's like,
man,
"Let's
Ricky,
go."
I can't keep up, dude. Yeah, because he's 24. I'm like, I can muster this for like an hour, and then I'm gonna be like, I need to recenter for like the next 3 hours.
Right.
But yeah,
Good. Now, so when we're talking about moving and muscle, you guys are obviously the muscle behind the move, and we're typically talking about houses, but you mentioned the green room that you help out in other ways too with moving, right? You've got some partners on your website. Tell us a little bit
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the breadth of what
Yeah,
you're
we're
doing.
trying to be more of like like we are 100% like the muscle. Like that's what we do. Moving help
Mhm.
basically. We're not always like a good fit. Sometimes people need trucks, and so we'll recommend people to local partner like truck companies that I've found that I trust.
Yeah.
I have a few full service moving companies that do local moves. I haven't really found any interstate full service moving companies that I trust. But I would recommend people to use just do pods or do ABF or do the. I mean, ABF is UPACK is pretty much the best option when it comes to interstate moves. But we work with a packing company in Washington. There's not really a good packing company we've found here for like packing boxes, but usually people are okay with doing those things,
Mhm.
because it's a process. It's, when you're packing, it's a lot of purging, like you said.
Mhm.
And we have to move. I have to personally move in the next month, and I'm stressed about it, to be honest. But we have the labor and truck and all that. But it's
Yeah.
just like, gosh, we
The
have to
decision ma
purge.
I mean, there's some decision making, that sort of
Yeah,
thing, but so you
yeah,
guys don't do that, but when it
yeah,
comes to the furniture
yeah.
and getting things on the truck,
Yeah, that's what
right?
we move the boxes, we
Yeah.
move the furniture. Our guys, we show up with a hand truck, furniture dolly, tools for disassembly, reassembly of the furniture
Yeah.
items, bed frames, that sort of thing. And then we have furniture pads for local moves, a dozen furniture pads. We can sell furniture pads for the interstate moves, but they're more expensive through us, so buy on Amazon. I mean, it's better to buy on Amazon.
Mhm.
But yeah, we can guide them. My CSR, my customer service representatives, Taylor and Raven, we're going to be hiring more this spring as we probably down here. So if anybody wants to work from home, it's all remote work from home. Yeah, so we train them on like how to make sure that we're giving resources when needed. So we work with a container company, two local container companies. One's called Units, and the other is called Simple Box. Simple Box is actually from Blaine, Washington, which is
Oh,
where I
perfect,
lived for a
and
couple
they're
years.
here as well.
They're here as well,
That's cool.
synchronistically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're super cool, and we're on their website, and then we have them on our website. And so they don't do interstate though. It's more they might from Arizona to Washington, but it's more for local storage. You need to like put your items like for a remodel. You can keep it on site, these containers, or
Mhm.
you can bring them to their warehouse. They have warehouses.
Yeah.
So you can, we load up the containers with the furniture and boxes. My movers are trained like with knowing how to secure the items and stack the items, play Tetris with the items to make sure to utilize the space, to
Yeah.
make sure to keep everything safe and everything secure
Yeah.
for transport, right? Because if anything happens during transport, you know, we get held responsible.
Right.
We pay out of pocket for damages. And a lot of companies actually have a policy in place where they charge extra for insurance. And all it is that they then pay out of pocket because there's no good insurance. And the industry standard is 60 cents per pound, but we don't go by that because you can't value an item by the pound,
No.
by the weight. So we work it out with the client what's fair. I had to cut a $1,500 check recently, and it's a lesson. Whenever we make a mistake, like that job in particular was in Washington State over the summer, and the summer is our busy season. That's when we have way too many jobs going on, and we're just trying to not mess up. Trying to do it. That's why it's so important to have like a lot of documentation on how to do every single little thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, I had we had a younger mover on the job with one of our senior movers, and it was a bigger job than to be expected. It's really hard to gauge. We don't do in-home estimates. We do all of our estimates over the phone, so we ask a lot of questions. But sometimes people aren't forthcoming, or
Right.
they don't know because they haven't moved forever, and then we get thrown into really bad situations sometimes. And so then we try to make it work. Our movers try to make it work, but sometimes they are like just struggling to get the job done. And so in this job, they dropped an air compressor, and that was like a couple $100, and then or
Sure.
$500, and then a safe. They didn't secure it properly, like
Darn
with
it.
furniture pads,
Yeah.
and safe got damaged. It was like a really expensive gun safe, and so I had to work out with the client to figure out what would be fair for the damaged
Yep.
repairs. And so that's what we do. We just figure it out on a case by case basis, and we do what's right. So it's worked out for the last 8 years,
Yeah.
and we have very few damage claims, but they do happen.
Yeah.
And I do
I
deal
love
with
that you're
them.
sincere about it, because that is,
Yeah.
I mean, that's real, right?
It is real. Yeah.
It-
And it's really not fun, but
Right. And at the same breath, though, you mentioned as you began to tell your story about Thumbs Up Moving
Mhm.
that you've got 5-star reviews, right? So,
Yeah.
and you've
Oh,
got
yeah.
plenty of clients who've been
Mhm.
satisfied. And it sounds like even when there is situation, you're handling with great care, and they
For
walk
sure.
away satisfied. They might be
Yeah.
disappointed, but it happens.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's
yeah.
not, I mean, it's like our track record is so good,
Yeah.
because we spent a lot of time with, tracking where our movers are at with their training
Right.
and giving them all the support that they need. So we're a people over profit company, but we don't put our clients first. We put our employees first. And then our employees put the clients
Yep.
like next,
Yep.
So I'm all about like doing everything I can to make sure my employees are very happy with working with us.
Yep.
And it's part-time for a lot of them, like the college students that work for us. And so, they make good money when they work, and we give them flexibility. So they are able to block off their schedules. Like
Yep.
it's like the Uberization. It's like
Mhm.
of the moving,
Yeah.
so they work when they want to work.
Yep.
And I think that that's right. I mean, that's fair. That's what I love to do. I love to work when I want to work. And sometimes I don't want to work, so I don't want, but I'm a business owner, so I have to kind of be
Certainly
on call
different. Yeah.
24/7 now for the last 8 years. There's not really a day off. I mean, you can't, but with scaling, of course, I'll be backing out of operations more and more as I gain more, as we build more traction with, getting the customer service representatives in place, and maybe a general manager, maybe this summer would be really nice. Our goal is to get $1 million in revenue this year.
Good.
So that's going to be double of our revenue last year, which is going to be, monumental challenge. But when you break it down to a daily, it's only $3,000 in revenue per day,
Mhm.
which is, like 10 jobs or 8 jobs a day or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's doable. The other day we had a $2,200 day, and it's our slow season. So I'm
Yep.
like, okay, we're on track. We're going to have some $10,000 revenue days this summer, but it's going to be a lot. And there's so much, it's a moving target with moves. They're constantly moving around. Sometimes we get the run around from the packing or from the container companies, and from trucks don't show. It's just a shit show. It's a shit show.
Yeah.
But we are very good at being adaptable. We
Right.
adapt and we work with our clients. We're very agile. And that's
Have to
something
be.
that makes us very unique is, we work with our clients as long as they're communicating with us, and they're, we'll work with them to do whatever it
Mhm.
takes to make
Mhm.
it work.
Well, that's why your logo and your name is so important, because
Yeah.
clearly you're going for the thumbs up effect,
Yeah.
and they're only going to give you that thumbs up if they're happy and
Totally.
satisfied.
At the end of the day, you're right. And it's like, I get these thumbs up photos. We have Slack. We use Slack for our app for all of our communicating. And,
Uh-huh.
we get these thumbs up photos constantly through every day,
Yeah.
especially in the busy season. I'll see like 10 come in through the Slack movers group message group, which has all of our
Yeah.
employees. And it's cool. It's cool to see my employees that are happy. I care about these guys.
Yeah.
I care about, their well-being, and I want them to be happy. I want them to be rewarded for their hard work. I want my clients to be happy, of course. So it's kind of like that's the payoff in a lot of ways. Just like at the end of the day, when it's been a total shit show, like trying to make everything work. I mean, making it work, but it's like a lot of input from me sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm the orchestrator. In order to orchestrate, you have to know all the instruments.
Yep.
But the more instruments you learn, and you learn the music theory, and you learn all these different things, then you're able to be orchestrating the symphony. Yeah. So I'm that, I'm like the Wizard of Oz behind the scenes,
Yeah.
pulling all the strings, but that's not sustainable. That's not,
Right.
you can't grow with that. So then it comes delegate and elevate, so you have to document in order to delegate and elevate. Oh, I got tons of like little tidbits, take notes.
Yeah.
When I'm in a flow state, all of it comes out. But then when I'm not in a flow state, what's my name?
Right.
Where am I? What is this?
I love it. I mentioned Chris Ronzio, one of our earlier shows today. Have you met Chris Ronzio? He
No.
owns a company called Trainual.
Mm-mm.
You would love him. He just wrote a book that's fantastic, and it's all around, the combination of taking a manual, operations manual, and training, and blending it in a way that makes sense and is energizing for your culture, for your company culture. You'd love him. Follow him on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I don't know if he's
Can you get me an email?
Yeah, of
or
course we
something at
will.
the end of the show? Give me all
Yeah.
these contacts. I'm super good at emailing.
And an introduction would
Yeah.
be great too, because I think that
Yeah.
since you're growing and you're in the opportunity to scale right now,
Yeah.
you would greatly benefit from
Yeah.
his wisdom and what they're doing.
Our training is super hodgepodge right now.
Yeah.
For our movers,
Sure.
like our onboarding and training, I get it all done, but it's not systemized yet. We
Well,
don't have a good platform
Chris and
yet.
Trainual is your guy. I'm telling you, you will totally you'll
Yeah. I have a
you'll
100
come
page.
back and thank me.
I have a 100-page standard operating procedure that I built out it took me 6 months, like a couple years ago. And guess what? How many people read it? None.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, and he'll always say, right, it has to be a working document. It's
Yeah.
something you've got to continue to keep
Well,
it up.
that's what we have for my customer service representatives.
Sure.
We have that for them,
Yeah.
but not for the movers.
Yeah,
So,
you'll get there.
yeah.
When you talk about scaling,
Yeah.
you mentioned obviously what your goal is by this summer. What else are you looking forward to for Thumbs Up Moving Labor? Where else do you see
I want to go
other
nationwide.
states?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I want to be nationwide, 100%. Yeah. It's just it's just finding the way and having the grit to make it happen.
The grit, yeah, and hang on to the vision when things get tough. Yeah. You're doing it though.
Yeah, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. 8 years in,
That's fantastic.
so it's not just a concept, but it is. That's what you read the E Myth, Entrepreneur Myth by
Michael
Michael Gerber. Yeah, and he talks about the product is the business. If you can, like McDonald's, it's like Ray Kroc was able to scale that because it was already such a beautiful, eloquent, so nuanced with like the way that you move here, he moves here. It's like that in the kitchen, right?
Yep.
So you have to create that, and then you can take that model once you have perfected it, which I believe we're getting pretty close with all the documentation that we've been doing. Writing it all down, right? Because it's all in my head. And I'm like, wait, and also you have to have it written down because I don't even remember what I've decided for certain things.
Yep.
So that's why you have to have it documented because you're like, I don't remember. And then you have to revisit it every, couple months because things change as you evolve. So I'm getting close to getting that perfect model so that we can then scale that model.
We're
and I
doing
believe
the
that
same
no one
thing
else.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that nobody has done that in our industry. Like nobody has done it in a way that we are doing it. We're just still super small, so we're not on the radar of like, and these bigger companies like HireHelper.com and Moving Staffers, they've gotten bought out by this crappy company, if you ask me, called Porch, and they're like a huge home services company, and it's super disheartening because HireHelper's quality has gone downhill in a big way over the last year and a half or whatever.
It takes the personality and the relationship out of it and makes it all around how many deals can we do, it sounds like.
Totally. And so I'm like, Brian Scudamore turned down selling his company a couple times to big soulless organizations. And so that's, my thing is like, maybe I might sell someday after I scale it, but this is my baby. I don't have children. So this is like, some people believe that you can't fully mature as a human being without children, but I think you can, but you have to take on like a pretty heavy burden of responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah, are we out of time already?
We were getting close.
Okay.
Yeah, this was fantastic, Jason. I could sit and just listen to you for days.
Oh, I talk too much sometimes.
No, not. I love your enthusiasm. You definitely have grit. You're clearly resilient and a great leader. And I love that you've taken time to pay homage to the people who've been mentors and guides in your life, which is really cool. And you've quoted some really incredible leaders who are business owners. So I love that you're a student of life and business.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, I've been staring into my fire that I've been having recently. And I'm like, I watched a YouTube video about fire, like what the science behind it and stuff. And I was like, and at the end of the video, it's like, yeah, and the fire like creates curiosity because you look into it, into this great light that's being produced here with these photons that are hitting you and the sounds, and it creates curiosity. And so I have my books right next to the fire, and that there's something to that, like something super intrinsic.
100% sure. I'm doing the same thing. I've got to find a better place to get my logs because I'm buying them at Sprouts or Fry's.
Oh no. Go to Valley Firewood. Shout out to them. Valley Firewood.
On Baseline? Are they?
They're south of Chandler Avenue.
I need to do that.
Yeah, because I bought a whole it's like a whole wheel. 2-3 wheelbarrows full for like $60. So that's good wood. It's like good pine, and they get it locally.
I need some movers to move the wood over to my place.
We could do it. We'll hook you up. Yeah, I get good deals. I mean, I'll like probably do it for free.
So this has been fun. I really would love to have you come back again.
Okay.
And I think having your what do you call it? Ricky? What do you call it?
Ricky.
What is he
He's
to you as an instructor? What do you call that?
Master, I guess.
Is he your master? Yeah. So anyway,
or master or something.
Something like
I don't
that.
know. What is
Master,
it?
Master Ricky. And of course, my son just got done watching the most recent Cobra Kai. I can't stomach this new season. It was too much for me.
I haven't seen it. I've heard of it. But
I loved watching the first couple. I mean, I grew up in the '80s, so for me, and I watched
from the Karate Kid.
Karate Kid, yeah. But
so it's like spinoff, right?
This most recent season was just so repetitive. I'm like, all right, I'm out after one episode. Anyway, we've been talking to and with a lot of fun and a lot of zest, Jason Elkins with Thumbs Up Moving Labor. And you can find them on thumbsupmovers.com, also on Facebook with the same name, and Instagram as well. And are you on LinkedIn yourself personally?
I am not.
We're going to do that. We're going to fix that.
I just have never cracked that nut,
Daryl
unfortunately.
Daryl was answering and responding a lot of LinkedIn for me.
Yeah.
And then we had one of our clients graciously said, Daryl, I'm going to get you hooked up. And she helped him get set up on LinkedIn.
I still have a lot of holes like in the things that I need to get into
course we
play. Like
do.
a
Yeah.
lot of puzzle pieces. Like
Yeah.
I have a lot of the puzzle pieces put together, but it's a 1,000-piece jigsaw
Yes, it
puzzle. And I
is.
have maybe I don't know, 20% of them figured out.
But you're getting there. Yeah. And we got a couple introductions for you
Yeah.
to help with that.
Cool.
And again, for any of our listeners who have a kiddo who is looking for some part-time work, do they just go to Thumbs Up?
Yeah, we have a
Moving?
careers page.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
under the About Us, I believe,
Good.
or Who We Are
Yeah.
page. So yeah, we have a careers page. They can reach out to us,
So good.
623-640-4947, 623-640-4947 for our telephone number, or
Yeah.
Jason at thumbsupmovers.com. Jason at thumbsupmovers.com, or our
And
website.
all over the valley?
Yeah, we go all over the valley. Ideally, our movers are in Chandler for the
Okay.
Tempe, Chandler. I'm on the border. I
Kinda
work
East
from home. We don't
Valley.
have like a shop or anything
Sure.
because we don't need it. And so, yeah, but we are looking to hire. We'll hire guys because we do a lot of work over in Surprise and the West Valley, because a lot of 55 and older, that's our demographic a lot of time, or
Yeah.
like single parents and things, or single people, or
Yeah.
people transplants. I mean, but yeah, so we are definitely open to hiring guys over there.
Good.
But yeah, if they're in high school, they just have to have a car, driver's license, proof of insurance, and a work ethic. I mean, they have to have the. It's really much better coming into this if they have worked a few other super entry level. One of our best new hires is 17 in Arizona, and he worked at a gas station for a couple of years.
So he knows hard work.
Yeah, he
knows
knows hard
customer
work, and he knows
service.
what it's like not to get paid that much
Yep.
and to be kind of treated like crap.
Yeah.
So then he comes into working for us. He's like, "This is
Wow.
1,000 times better," versus
That's so good.
yeah. So
Aw.
yeah, that's always the best when they have a little bit of experience. So they
Good.
have some grit, but they'll develop it further. This is the next step.
Yeah. Good. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing your success story and
Yeah.
your zest for life and business. And we are looking forward to getting to know you better through the chamber and whatever else we can do. You had said it before we came on air. We are also all about the win-win, right? Looking for an opportunity to cross-pollinate and
High
get you-
tides raise all boats.
That's right, for sure. You've been listening to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Max 6 Entrepreneur Center right here in Tempe, Arizona, where we help build businesses and connect you with the right people. Some media leans left, some lean right, and we lean business. Until next time, I'm Karen Nowicki. Thanks for listening.